This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Welcome, family, to another wonderful edutainment edition of The Art of His Thinks. I'm your host for this empowerment segment, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, The Art of His. There's so much stuff going on in the news cycle. In the words of Judge Joe Brown, just bread and circuses. A lot of distractions going on. A lot of distractions. A lot of things happening to get people off message, to get people to buy into certain agendas. Now, I consider myself a thought provocateur. I'm just here to get you to think about some things and to encourage you all to do your own research, to inform your own point of view, her perspective, his perspective, they perspective, our perspective, different types of perspectives. Okay. So this is what I'm here to do. And I wanted to comment, on what happened last week with Melania Trump concerning her jacket. I really don't care, do you? It was written on the back of her jacket. As you know, she visited some children down in Texas at the detention center down there. And the media, instead of focusing on her visit, the biggest story of the day was what was on her back. You know, she had this on her back, a $39 jacket. Had the words, "I really don't care, do you?" They say it's a $39 Zara jacket, whatever. It's a jacket. And, so it's like people have been reading a lot of speculation with a media firestorm. And my thing is, why should we care about her jacket? You know, actions speak louder than words. She did go visit, the children down there in Texas. You know, it is safe to say that she's not an Eleanor Roosevelt. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's our own first lady. And I just want people to think about this. There's a lot of talk going on about what's going on with families being separated at the border. But the foundation of this country was built upon separating families, in particular, people of color, black families being separated during slavery, all phases of Americans' development. You know, even with the welfare state, you had to have a separation of the black father from the black home in order for the black family, in particular the black woman, to qualify for welfare benefits from Big Daddy government. So I say all this to say the hypocrisy of it all. We talk about children at the border, but what about children in Flint, Michigan? Why is there no outrage about what's going on in Flint, Michigan? Dirty water. You got children who are sick. This happened before there was a Trump administration in office. This was just years and years of this indifference. And you got the situation in Flint, Michigan, where the water is still not safe and the children are suffering. They are passing along health ailments to the next generation. You understand? And yet we're not outraged about that. I have a problem with a media that tends to cater to people's emotions, that tend to manipulate people's emotions. Just like that, Time magazine with Donald Trump and the so-called girl separated from her family, which was not true. That picture was doctored to make it like she was separated from her family, crying about that when in fact she was not separated from her family. And then not only that, she was taken out of the original context of the photo and created in a new image with Donald Trump looking down at her. So does this not prove the point that when Donald Trump talks about so-called mainstream outlets, mainstream media outlets, being fake news? That is a form of fake news. It's propaganda. When I consider fake news, it's propaganda. It's information presentation with an agenda. Even look at the Spanish-American War. What's known as fake news today was called yellow journalism back then. You know, The reason why the Spanish-American War happened was because of information presentation with an agenda. William Randolph Hearst, the media magnate, the Rupert Murdoch of his day, he came with the phrase "Remember the Maine," the USS Maine, which blew up, the ship that blew up. So people blame the Spanish for the sabotage, but in hindsight, people said it was an in-house thing. It was maybe an accident that caused the explosion, not terrorism or so-called actual sabotage. But they ran with it. It's like this scene in The Wire. I think Slim Charles, the lieutenant for Boxdale, realized that they were fighting some people. Or I forgot the conversation, but if y'all Wire fans, y'all know. I think it was either with Avon Boxdale or Stringer Bell. Slim Charles had a conversation, and somebody said, "Well, no, we're fighting on a lie. We'll fight on a lie. We'll fight a war on a lie. We'll fight a war on a lie." So a lot of things that we consider fact-based or truth-based was fought on a lie. Think about the Vietnam War, the escalation, the United States involvement of the Vietnam War was based on the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which was a fabricated lie, a false flag. It never happened, but the powers that be made it real to justify U.S. Escalated involvement in the Vietnam War. Just like I'm saying with the Donald Trump thing, when people talk about Donald Trump, I see rational, intelligent people lose their minds. This is lose their stuff, get very emotional. But I'm saying, what will be the difference between Hillary and Donald Trump? It's like what Malcolm X said in the Message to a Grassroots or the Battle of the Bullet, whatever, about the Democrats and Republicans being the same. One is a wolf, other's a fox. A fox has its teeth, but a wolf shows who they really are. But they're all part of the canine family. So they all in the same game, as Miss Chalet would say back in the day. So there's no difference. You have no choice. But yet people buy into this idea of having choices, of voting for the lesser evil. There's no such thing as a lesser evil. Evil is what evil does. It's a wicked, wicked, wicked time, wicked system that we have here, where we are all considered blood sacrifices for the powers that be. People get into the Illuminati stuff and conspiracy theory, and conspiracy theory was created by the CIA. The term was created by the CIA. Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird. Take a look. It's out online. The CIA, U.S. intelligence infiltrated news organizations. They control journalists, the narrative. No, it's nothing new. If you look at CBS 60 Minutes, they have media consultants with CIA connections. If you look at, the Department of Defense, they have a budget where they send money to Hollywood. Look at the movies Argo and Wag the Dog, which deals with stuff that they do in real life. Argo is based on real history, and Wag the Dog is based on the mythology of how they do what they do. The spin meisters, the spin masters, the storytellers, the myth makers, headliners, and legends. But what I'm saying, get back to the jacket. People are outraged about that jacket. I mean, I think it's fake outrage, to be honest with you. I really don't care. Do you? Do you really care? Like I said, where's the people outraged about what's going on in Flint, Michigan? Where's the people outraged? I mean, the police brutality thing, for example. They feed you certain stories. I'm sorry about the brother who lost his life in Pittsburgh, and he was buried on the birthday of Tamir Rice. And people get all emotional, but a solution would be make the police officers pay for their individual liability insurance. Where are the so-called politicians that are telling people to vote, but where are they with the solutions? Where's the leadership with a sound, intelligent solution to police brutality? I just told you as a layman, look, make the individual police officers pay for their own liability insurance. when more incidents happen, the insurance rates goes up. They can't afford to pay it. They get cut off from their job, from the organizations, the police. We won't be able to move them around like pieces on a chessboard. There'll be no more Darren Wilsons and cats like that on the police force. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? But I don't know what you understand. Do you really care? That's the point. Do people really care? You know, do people really care? Do we empathize? It's like, you know, people talking about, you know, where are black people? Who are the people that cape for black people, that stand up for black people? It's like black people are always trying to advocate for everybody. You know, they advocate same sex, religious issues, immigration issues. But who stands up and defends black people? Where's the black leadership for black folks? Black folks are being left behind once again. It goes back to what Dr. King talked about, integrating to a burning house. You know, black folks are just allowing themselves to be used as cannon fodder, as sacrificial lambs for somebody else's agenda. We as black people are allowing ourselves to be used like that. Whereas the savvy, visionary, revolutionary leadership, all of that is required of one person or anybody in order to achieve something great. You got to be willing to put your life on the line for what you want. Once again, to achieve something great, you got to be willing to put your life on the line, to put your life on the line for what you want. People make all types of excuses why they can't do what they want to or need to do. But success is not about okaying or normalizing failure. Success is not about normalizing failure. You know, so think about this. You can do all the talking, but at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words. It doesn't matter what's on the back of the first lady's jacket. What matters is what is on your agenda in terms of action to advance your cause, to advance your purpose. What is your God work? That is important. Building things, solution oriented, reclaiming the narrative, telling your story, our story, her perspective, his perspective, our perspective. See how it works. So that's what is important right now. There are so many things to do. People talk about, oh, they're starving over in third world countries, but we're starving in America. We got food deserts in the inner cities. People talking about justification, but yet they're starving the people in the cities, in the inner cities. So you're starving people, yeah, in these same places, I mean, of despair. Like, you know, you go to these food deserts and ghettos and projects, but in a couple of years, these same places become thriving with condominiums and Whole Foods and all types of nice modern life comforts. But it was all just, you know, a short couple of years ago, this same area was the projects or was the ghetto. See, that lets you know it's not about the physical, it's about the mental and the spiritual. It's about your mind. It's about your mindset. See, you manifest your reality from your mind, from your imagination, from your spirit. That is so important to know. If I thought like everybody else, if my mind allowed me, if I train my mind to think like everybody else, to give in, give up, and give out, not like everybody else, but a certain segment, then I won't be able to do the things I'm doing now. I won't be able to talk to you all right now if I allow somebody else's way of thinking to invade my mind. See, your mind, your mentality, your mind, that space between your ears is the most important real estate of the 21st century. Oh, Chuck D, the famous rapper, once said, he said, your mind is the most important real estate of the 21st century. Einstein once said that your imagination is more powerful than knowledge. If you cannot envision yourself as being successful, if you cannot imagine an alternative to what you're dealing with right now, then you're not going to be able to make it. What can you pass on to the next generation? So once again, do you really care? When I talk about families being in despair, You know, are we just one trick ponies for the powers that be to manipulate, to ride, you know, at their will? They can ride upon our backs without our consent. But like Eleanor Roosevelt once said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. No one. So inferiority is a choice. Liberation is a choice. The knowledge of self is a choice. So what good does it do to get all emotionally out of shape about what the POTUS or the FLOTUS is doing, or you think they're doing, or you perceive them to do? Donald Trump did not invent this system. He just is a beneficiary of the system. When he said that the game is rigged, he never said it wasn't rigged in his favor. He said it was fixed. But instead of y'all looking at that, you know, what is about the system that benefits people like Donald Trump? You blame the man for the system when the system came before the man. His family wealth benefited from corporate welfare. But I think that welfare for struggling families is a sin. When Donald Trump's family wealth is a product of corporate welfare and government subsidies. But yet a lot of us, the working poor, the living poor, the quote unquote middle class, a lot of us think that getting handouts from the government is evil. Shit, they gave Elon Musk billions of dollars. You had governments that gave Elon Musk, a multi-billionaire, billions of dollars to do whatever he want to do with it, to do his so-called God work. And yet y'all look at getting a couple of $1,000s in food stamps as being a sin. See how that works? You become your own worst enemy, critic, and adversary. Enemy. It's not the Trump, it's you. You determine your fate. You got free will. This is your movie. Your life is your movie. So once again, who really cares? Who's that directed to? I don't really care. Do you? Who's that really directed to? What is that about? Is it about Stormy Daniels? Is it about Donald Trump in other ways? Is it about the media? What is all about you? At the end of the day, you deal with you more than anybody else on the planet. You got to deal with yourself 24/7. You got to check in or check out or give up or give in or give out on yourself 24/7. So this is why I do what I do. Because I have my perspective. That's my perspective, my perspective. And you have one too. And the problem with us a lot of time is that we look for somebody else for solutions where everything you need resides in you. You got to be able to have a relationship with you in order to understand you, to get the best out of you. It's like MElania Trump's what campaign, what's the thing is, be best. Be the best version of you can be. But you must know thyself to do better for thyself so you can help other people, you know. Be your best servant to yourself so you can help be a better servant to other people. And what more can I say? I'll just say it a little bit there. I'll just leave it at that. Thank you all for listening to the words of Brother Herd. If you are inspired by the word, please share it. Please subscribe to the WeAllBe TV YouTube channel. Please share this message with your networks. Please go into the archives at WeAllBe TV. Got so much content, man. I mean, it's still like so amazing that I got to travel to different places around the country and eventually around the planet. But around the country, it's amazing that people know the work. They recognize my voice, my face, or they know the work. Well, I give out a card. Oh, this brother runs WeAllBe TV. I share this with my family. You know, you help us create a curriculum for our children, for the foundation of our homeschool. And it's like, wow, you know, just based on the stuff I'm doing. And all I'm doing is just sharing myself with the world. I'm just trying to make the world a better place before I leave. You know what I'm saying? By being the best I can be, regardless of the circumstances. Like a brother once said, a setback is a setup for a comeback. But if you believe in the mission of WeAllBe and a brother run, this infotainment movement, please feel free to not only subscribe, but to give. You could donate, one-time donation to PayPal.com or recurring donation as well. I mean, you go find my email, R2C2H2 at gmail.com. It's tax deductible, goes towards our nonprofit, the We All Be Group Incorporated. But also you can make a recurring donation at the patreon.com/We All Be. You can also buy Artivist gear and art. You can hang and wear R2C2H2 art. Go to R2C2H2.com. Also, we got a couple of Teespring, sites with t-shirts and whatnot. You can, buy at affordable prices. But I want to thank anybody and everybody whoever gave, whoever, listened and applied the information that I am sharing with the people. If it has made your life a little bit better, if it has empowered you and your loved ones as well as strangers, I thank you all for validating the work, because it means a lot to me, because I know that I would never meet all the people that have been influenced by the work. And I would never know the greatest impact I have made by doing what I do. But at the same time, God, the universal God, does give me confirmations every day when I meet the good people out here in the world. And people, they feed into me and they encourage me. Strangers, but they know me, and I really don't meet any strangers. Like, I'm very much comfortable in engaging with people, even though I'm shy. People find it hard to believe I'm a shy person. I'm introverted on some levels, but at the same time, I have a love for the people that forces me out of my comfort zone to engage the people. And that's why We All Be TV and all the other things We All Be and all the wonderful things we do in the community happens, because I am inspired by my love of the people to get out of my comfort zone, to keep it moving. So right now, I'm either homeless or I am home on the road, but I have no home to call my own. But hopefully that'll change in the near future. But if you want to help me on that path to having a home, please feel free to donate, give, or buy art, and buy art t-shirts made by the Artivist. But anyway, thank you all so much for listening. In the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing.